You're not gonna tell him what today is? God, I swear. What's the point of even having a cat if he's not even gonna tell you it's Tier List Tuesday? What's going on with ya, big dog? And of course, it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I genuinely hope that your day is going phenomenal, but big dog, if it isn't going as well as you want it to be, do not let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. And speaking of such, it is time for the Rogue Tier List, big dog. I don't want you to be sleeping. You could be coming across one of these rogue strategies either at the national championship that's happening this weekend, or maybe your friend is villainous and he's already ahead of the game, so you may need to watch this video. Or maybe you are that person that's looking for a new rogue deck. So what we are going to consider in this rogue tier list is just strategies that have not been played as often. As you can see, there are some strategies in here that have been mentioned on yesterday's video, which are top tier meta decks that have been statistically proven throughout the format. Well, some of those decks just didn't have the representation at highest level events, so we threw them in this rogue tier list to give you a little bit of Of course, if you want more details about those strategies, go ahead and check out that video, as we have 5 different categories that are fairly self-explanatory. Top rogue, really good, takes a good pilot, well, you might have to be really good and know exactly what you're doing. A lot of effort or strategies that aren't bad, but does require a lot of effort. And then, of course, the Arby's tier, everybody's favorite. Oh, no, what are you doing, baby? You might as well just be eating at Arby's because you ain't getting nothing else but Arby's as a reward if you are playing these decks. Starting off with the Predaplant strategy, I think that the Predaplant strategy just might be way better than the pure Despia branded strategy. This deck is ridiculous, giving you the ability to search fusion cards from your deck to your hand, whether it's instant fusion to be able to summon your Predaplant I'm not going to say this card's name right ever, or being able to still search Fusion Destiny from your deck to your hand to still be able to consistently make Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. Regardless on whatever route, the Predaplant engine gives you the grind that you need, the ability to fuse your opponent's cards, and being able to press Preda counters, which allows you to negate your opponent's most important cards. This deck is in the top rogue because it is just too strong. Weather Painters. I have to say that Weather Painters take a really good pilot, but do not sleep on this deck. The Weather Forecast Field Spell card does everything that this strategy needs. It allows you to take your terrible weather canvas cards and actually use them for something useful. Being able to link summon into your Weather Painter boss monster link. Oh my god, guys. She allows you to negate summons, spells, traps, and monster effects. You can get up to 4 disruptions with this one card. And the Weather Painter strategy is sneaky good. Being able to play cards like Mystic Mind. It's seriously probably one of the best Mystic Mind decks, and play under it extremely well. This deck is a genuine threat to deal with. Cards like Dimensional Shifter obviously come into play, so watch out for a sneaky Weather Painter player. You probably would see this in Top Nationals if the homegirl Kana was going there. Code Talkers, guys. This is, actually, I think this represents Ignisters. I have to make sure, because it's a difference between Code Talkers and Ignisters. If this were Code Talkers, it'd easily be in the, oh no, what are you doing, baby? Allow me to explain. Yes, Code Talkers can give a full U-Link, which means your opponent won't be able to link summon, and then give your opponent the Nightmare Corruptor Ippli. But that is the only thing that that strategy has going for it, as opposed to some of the other cyber strategies. But Code Talkers? Oh my god, like, Code Talkers is easily one of the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! You guys actually should check out my $100 competitive budget meta deck, as Code Talkers have actually been consistently topping across the entire format. Who would have thought that being able to make the Arrival Cyberse Ignister monster, which is unaffected by card effects and is ridiculously strong, could outright win games? But also being able to summon Access Code Talker whenever you want to break your opponent's board, that does this face too. Now, if we're going to be subjective, The Invoker strategy is getting better because there will be less Despia players. Cards like Dimensional Shifter and Anti-Spell Vergans really hurt this deck. But if we're going to be objective, right now there isn't a lot that this deck can do. Now when Power of the Elements comes out, boy, yo, you might want to start looking at this deck a lot different. In actuality, you might want to start looking at it like, and the reason why I say this is because being able to fusion summon into Shaddoll Winda against a deck like Splight, it is literally GG's against them. The Invoke strategy is falling on hard times right now, but fortunately, or very hopefully in the near future, that will change. Burning Abyss, guys, I hate to say it, but this is legitimately an, oh no, what are you doing, baby? The reason why I say this is because Burning Abyss doesn't have a lot going for it in this particular format. Not right now, not right now. I'm not saying that it's a terrible strategy. I mean, I guess putting it in the oh no, what are you doing, baby, does not help my case. But being able to make Divine Arsenal AA Zeus isn't as powerful as it once was, as these particular games are built upon your opponent being able to have hand advantage, not field presence, and Zeus gets hard punished right now. Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal, is an excellent card, being able to send cards like Fairy Tale Snow, and you know how good that is. But that's pretty much where this deck stops. Actually, I don't even want to put it in an oh no. I think it's a really good deck. You're just climbing at you're in a really bad spot playing this deck right now. Right now, I would not play this deck, but it is a very good cheap deck, and with the right pilot, you still are looking at an uphill battle. Kraken Control, Sharks, guys. Sheesh. I think that this deck is also a lot of effort, is because there's another strategy on this tier list that does what this deck does, except better. I mean, it can OTK. It's a cyber strategy. It makes better boards. Regardless, if you are a huge fan of Sharks, then, I mean, play Sharks, guys. I mean, it's still a really fun deck. But again, because there is another strategy in the metagame that takes this strategy's function, it kind of makes it a lot of effort to be able to play this strategy. DDD, guys. DDD takes an extremely good pilot. This is one of the better decks in Yu-Gi-Oh, guys. I love how DDD makes those wonky interactions, being able to make DDD Wave King Caesar, which prevents itself from being Nibiru or prevents other types of special summons. And then, of course, there's DDD Machina X Deuce. Like, seriously, a 2-year-old made this. Like, he was, yo, son, what do you want to make? I want to make this card DDD Super Deuce King Machina X Big O Zoid Liger Zero. Stop, guys. But seriously, that card is, like, really, really good at being able to disrupt the opponent. I think the problem with DDD is that it does take, like, a galaxy brain to be able to pilot, and ain't nobody got time for that from time to time. We just try to eat our glue in place of Yu-Gi-Oh, right? I mean, at least a lot of times. Dinomorphia, guys. This is going to be our first strategy to make the really good. I do have a Dinomorphia deck profile if you guys want to see it. This deck is ridiculously cheap. It is a $50 deck if you go on the very, very budget alternative route. But the thing that I like about Dinomorphia is Dinomorphia Rexter, being able to literally lock your opponent out. Then there's Kitragena. I mean, Kitragena looks really, really nice, right? Like, I may have fallen in love. Sword Soul Iris might have to move out of the way. But anyway, the best thing about this deck is being able to use cards like Solemn Strike and Solemn Judgment literally to your advantage. A life point cost only makes Kitragena stronger. It allows your Rexstorm to be able to negate even harder. You can literally just punish your opponent, negate all of their monsters, and then go for game with Psychic in Punisher, because normally your life points are significantly lower than your opponent's. Congratulations, Dinomorphia players. You won me over. Moving forward, Zombie World, guys. Zombie Punk, I think, just might be the best variant for this deck, but Zombie World itself isn't doing enough right now. Right now, it's not doing enough, but when we get to those tribal decks, when decks like Tri-Brigade and Ignisters and stuff like that, when players are going to be having to play tribal, this deck literally goes to the really good to the top rogue. But I think you're going to have to be able to manipulate the Zombie World strategy correctly. This deck is more so deck building and being able to flesh out your perfect combos, as well as being able to play through those hand traps. This deck will literally be, it'll probably be one of the more played decks when Power of the Element comes out because of Splight. But right now, it is a deck that can play maximum amounts of hand traps to be able to stop your opponent and also still be able to make some of the big boy combos. It has OTKs. It has 1-card starters. This deck pretty much has everything you need to be one of the better rogue decks. Exo Stepsisters, guys. Right now, a lot of effort. But when that Power of the Elements set comes out, and I can't wait to give you guys a tier list, then boy, there's gonna be so many changes for that particular format. But for right now, Exo Sisters don't have a way to consistently do what they want to do. I don't think it's a bad deck, but again, that Malphas monster that comes out in Power of Elements, it literally solves a lot of the strategy's problems. Frightfur, guys, 100% takes a really good pilot. You gotta know exactly what you're doing with this deck, because just going second and playing into all of your opponent's interruptions isn't always going to cut it. Like, you're gonna need to know how to play into those interruptions with the perfect cards and still be able to set up the perfect boards. I think that Frightfur, very good going second deck that can just take over games from time to time. But once your opponent figures out what you're doing, I mean, you kind of have the same weaknesses as this deck, but this deck will finish games fairly quickly. Grin Maju, oh my god, I mean, I haven't seen Grin Maju in a long time. It's like ever since Pot of Desires got limited, this deck fallen off the map. But with Pot of Desires semi-limited, there's a lot more room for Grin Maju. Almost the same as Frightfurs, except you're not fusion reliant. You go second, you use those danger cards to break your opponent's board, hopefully. Then you summon that big boy Grin Maju and attack, make it an 11 kajillion attack and win the game. Bonus points if you set Grin Maju and your opponent tacked into it. Let me know if you guys set the Grin Maju, your opponent attacked into it, and you won the game. Earth Machine is fairly expensive because of Therion King Regulus, but it does have some national representation, and with the right pilot, it can be a very good... I mean, who am I kidding? With the wrong pilot, if you're playing skill drains. If you're playing skill drains, you're probably just going to win off of that. I mean, like, if you're a glue eater, play skill drains, play Gozen matches, play Rider of the Warlords, and I mean, you're probably just going to wear off of it. But for the advanced players, being able to use Therion King Regulus to equip my gear frame, and then figure out the situations where you need to combo is going to be best for you. Machina Citadel does get a lot of value because a lot of times your opponent's going to have to get rid of your Earth Machine monsters, and it comes to a time where they have to destroy them, and you can just get Citadel to your side of the bill for free, allowing you to continually disrupt their plays. Madolche right now takes a really good pilot, but I'm telling you, I cannot wait for Power of the Elements. I've been hearing rumblings about Madolche, right? That this will be a dope strategy once Power of the Elements comes out. It's going to take it to the next level, and I'm excited to be able to see that because I like Madolche. I like Madolche. Marine says easily top rogue, guys. This is the deck that I was talking about that can do everything that Sharks does. It can make number 4 Stealth Kraken. It can make totally awesome. So it's like, yeah, this deck also allows you to extend and be able to play a little bit further, seeing that it's a link-based deck. You don't need 2 level 4 monsters to get this deck started. Just 1 Marine Cess monster is full combo. Heroes, I got to put in the top rogue. I'm going to put in a really good. I think they're a tweener. We're going to ignore price, obviously, because this is a rogue tier list, not a budget tier list. This deck is kind of ridiculously good, guys. The Destiny Hero Dark Angel. You guys know if we're in a fusion format where you need those fusion spell cards like Polymerization, who would have thought in 2022 Polymerization is at its strongest? But this deck, like being able to summon a Dark Angel to your opponent's side of the field is disgusting. Also, Master Hero Dark Law banishes all cards, and when your opponent searches, you get to punish them. This is like the perfect format for this card, as a lot of strategies will have a really hard time by getting over a Dark Law and that Dark Angel. Then in case that didn't work, we got a one-side walking skill drain with Destiny Hero Plasma. So like, yeah, this deck does have it with the Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. You guys are sleeping on this deck. Unfortunately, it's been a long day without you, my friend. Agents, what happened, dog? It's been a long day without you, my friend. Oh, man. Agents can still play Herald of Arclight. Herald of Orange Light. So, I got my hopes for it. But it's descent from me saying it's a really, really good deck to it being a lot of effort in Rogue. Definitely comes to this fairy deck can make some pretty cool combos, and its win condition should 100% be Arc Lord Christia, because if you're using the artifact Scythe Lock to lock your opponent out, like, there's so many decks that just do it better, guys. They just do it better. Don't do it. Summoning Arc Lord Christia can be a win condition until you go against decks like Eldritch and Floowandereeze, which kind of like, they have ways. Like Eldritch to Golden Lord gets rid of it. Floowandereeze don't care, so the ratio gets evened out. I do think that it's a good deck, but I think that there are plays or decks that can combo just a little bit better right now. Mech Knight take a really good pilot. My Mech Knight players stand up. You guys know what it is. You know what it takes to be able to play this strategy. No more free wins off of being able to summon Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. Also, the artifact Scythe is pretty strong in here because it's almost like Arc Lord Christia. Yes, you can Scythe lock your opponent in this deck. Then you can special summon it back to your side of the field with World Legacy, not Succession, with the World Legacy trap card. World Legacy Whispers. I haven't played this deck in so long, I can't remember which one. I don't think it's that one. But then you can summon it back and then keep searching it and summoning back, which gives you a huge advantage. Mech Knights are extremely good at being able to play that column game. And as long as this deck stays in Rogue, players just ignore columns, letting you to set up and get some free wins off of that. Plunder Patrol, I think, is fairly good. We haven't really moved away from meta that still summons big light and dark monsters, where Plunder Patrol can be able to summon Plunder Patrol lists to be able to negate monster effects, and Plunder Patrol Morph to be able to banish cards on the field. So that's still going for it. The Adventure Engine hasn't changed. It's still really good in the format, and this deck loves the Adventure Engine. Also, the Magician Souls engine is really good in this deck. So Plunder Patrol, I don't think, has lost too many steps. It does take a good pilot, but it's not pilot dependent like some of these other strategies, and takes a really good pilot. No, enough said, guys. Phantom Knights are there. Phantom Knights are there. You guys are seriously sleeping on Phantom Knights. Look, I'm not saying you're degenerate for summoning Evil Swarm Ophion in this deck, but think about how many free wins you get off of just summoning Evil Swarm Ophion, guys. Think about it. Evil Swarm Ophion prevents the summoning of level 5 and higher monsters. Think about Despia, think about Sword Soul, Eldritch the Golden Lord, Eldritch monsters. Like, think about it. I just want you to think about it. How this deck literally can do that. You can still Scythe lock your opponent. And it plays a very, very good grind game. Just 2 level 3 monsters get you into so much combo potential. Salamangreat Great's really good, guys. Really, really good. I don't think Salamangreat Greats are actually better than Marincess. I still want to go out and say that. Or Code Talker. But again, this deck has the best trap cards out of all the cyber strategies. Salamangreat Roar being able to destroy cards on the field, or Rage being able to destroy cards on the field. Salamangreat Roar being able to negate your opponent's clutch monsters. And all of the cyber strategies does have access to Access Code Talker, which outright wins games by itself. Subterrors, the Guru. TJ loves Guru. TJ loves Guru. So I'm gonna put it in, takes a really good pilot. I'm gonna give you guys one thing. Nobody is prepared for nobody's prepared for Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Like, no one. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon almost feels like this monster, them being able to summon at arrival. It almost feels like the same thing, and no one is prepared for it. This deck can literally search Red Eyes Dark Dragoon using Red Eyes Insight, or just flat out just playing Red Eyes Fusion. Just activate the Red Eyes Fusion, summon the Dragoon. It doesn't mess you up because you set the Guru and you keep playing. I'll give it to you. And no one sees that coming from the Guru strategy. Also, being able to search hand traps is pretty good in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. That trap-based deck, I do think it takes a really good pilot to be able to play. Sun Avalon, I think, is really good. Being able to have a 1-card full combo, a one-sided skill drain, definitely get you to the conversation. You're kind of looking like heroes. The deck isn't as fragile because of the Therion engine, as well as the Adventure Token engine, but you don't necessarily need the Adventure Token engine for this strategy to survive. Tri Brigade, you guys seen what I do at Tri Brigade. I've been destroying people. So the problem with Tri Brigade right now, of course, and the reason why I do think it would be considered as a rogue, like tier 2/ deck, is because players have gotten hip to stopping your first summon, then stopping your follow-up. If you stop that, you're kind of like a duck in the water. But other than that, Tri Brigades are really strong. Just overall a great deck. Being able to synchro summon into Herald of Arclight is like, it's amazing. It's a dub. It's a W, and your opponent literally cannot drop it to you. They can't do a lot of things that they want to do against you, and you can almost outright win the game. because of that card. But Trevenant Shrike easily is your go-to card, being able to banish your opponent's cards and then continue to put out damage. Now, I put this in the "oh no, what are you doing, baby" before, right? Asawi, guys. It's a good deck. Kyokushin actually does some pretty crazy. I lost in this deck before. I was like, yo. Then I started like looking into it. I'm like, this ain't bad. Searchable Torrential Tribute, which isn't even a Torrential Tribute against this deck. It's kind of like a Raigeki on your opponent's turn, turning your opponent's monsters into water and then goes and locking them. Or hold on, this Kyokushin says you can only control one non-water and then goes and locking them. Regardless, you guys see it on the screen. This is kind of cool. The control version of this deck, it does take a great pilot, but it's really cool. Then lastly, Unchained, guys. Come on, my Unchained boys, give it up. This is Top Rogue. Sheesh. The Unchained group don't like me. That's all I gotta say. But I still got love for Unchained. This is a deck that does not need its normal summon. I do think that the best variant is the Pure Route. I think that the Adventure Token Pure Route is probably your best bet because you don't need your normal summoned effects from your Unchained cards. So being able to set up Adventure Token allows you to protect your place. And it's a deck that only gets stronger and stronger as the game goes on, using your Unchained Anguish and Rage to be able to link off your opponent's cards, ultimately ending up to Abomination. To be honest, if I'm going to be so 5 real with y'all, I don't understand why this card is not like $20. I just genuinely don't. I think that Unchained Abomination is single-handedly one of the best archetype Link 4s in the game. It is just, it literally says destroy 3 cards per turn. It's kind of ridiculous. But that is all that I have for the Rogue tier list. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Of course, if you think that I missed some strategies, go ahead and let me know down below. I'll try to put it in my meta tier list or a tier list in the future. Again, if you want to see more amazing content, you can go ahead and check out these videos, as I'll catch you on the next one.